Hello everyone, my name is Brady Hazlett. I'm an application engineer here at 3M, and today we're going to walk through the 3M standard operating procedure for blending across panels. Now with any repair, the goal is to take a damaged vehicle back to its pre-collision condition. And specifically when we're talking about color, that can be a little challenging because the new color you're applying will be different from the original color of the car. So with the blend, you can take that repair with that new color applied and do an invisible transition into the original color of the car, and we'll walk through those steps today. Now before we get started, you of course want to have the appropriate personal protective equipment for the job. Since we're working in a shop, I am wearing my safety glasses, and for any of the sanding steps, a respirator will need to be worn. And we also recommend, it's not required, but if you wear nitrile gloves while you're handling anything around the car, it can keep you from putting any of your fingerprint oils on that repair area, which can cause some issues with the paint later. So, if you have any questions about safety or warranty, that is in the description below. And again, this is recommended for professional settings like a body shop or a restoration shop. So before this repair came to us, the body technician had to apply filler over the dent, feather that out, and then applied primer, and came back and did check blocking on that primer with some abrasive. You'll notice that on this panel, we already have a little bit of masking tape applied on the panel adjacent to that repair. And the reason that's there is to protect that panel as the sanding steps were being done over the repair area. And we're gonna be doing additional sanding steps on this half of the hood that we'll be demonstrating on. So we'll take that masking a little bit further around to protect all of the adjacent area next to this repair panel. So I'll do that now. So now that we have our adjacent panels protected for our sanding steps, and as you can see, we actually split this hood in half. We're gonna be able to show you a before and after just for the preparation steps as well. But the next step we're gonna need to do is abrade the actual repair area where we had that 320 blocking done, as well as the surrounding areas with the appropriate grade of abrasive for that base coat application. Now you always wanna check your tech data sheet to make sure you're using the right grade of abrasive. And for the base coat that we'll be using today, that's a 600 grade abrasive. So we're gonna make sure that we go over that repair area, removing all of those straight line scratches, but also bringing that area out to where we expect to have that base coat land, and make sure that it's all prepped and ready to accept that base coat. So we'll do that now. Now we've got our repair area prepped for the base coat that we'll be applying. We got rid of all of those straight line scratches as well as brought that repair area out a little bit further. So the next steps we're gonna need to do is prepare the entire panel for the clear coat that we'll be applying. You'll always wanna refer to that tech data sheet to determine what grade of abrasive is appropriate for that. And specifically, this clear coat will be using 1000 grade abrasive, and that's appropriate for hand sanding steps with our gray Scotch-Brite pad or our 1000 grade flexible abrasive. Now, we're gonna do those hand sanding steps first along all of the body lines as well as the edges of the panel. And it's important to do that first because that will impart some straight line scratches. And straight line scratches can actually affect how metallic lays down. So we'll go over the entire area with the DA after we're done with that hand sanding steps. So I'll illustrate that now. So as you can see, we finished up with all of our hand sanding steps on the body lines and the edges of the panel. That put in those straight line scratches, so we followed up with our DA with the appropriate grade of abrasive for the clear coat we'll be using. Now we left a little bit of texture here. You don't want to have that. You want it to look more like what we have here in the center of the panel, because that can actually mess with the way the metallics lay down. So we'll come back and DA spots that we see with any additional texture. And you'll be able to see on this was just our demonstration panel. we have half of it prepped and ready for that application of that base coat followed with that clear coat. You'll be able to see about what it started like on the other side of the hood here. But we're gonna move on into the next video on an actual repair. We'll be showing the masking steps required to apply a blend on an actual repair. So stay tuned for the next installment. That's all we have for this installment of the 3M SOP series for applying a blend. If you like the content, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, or comment below, and we'll see you next time.